This conference will now be recorded.
See what we discussed yesterday class. So we are discussing the mapping document and the test cases, right? So yesterday we discussed the mapping document. So in the mapping document, what are the content will be there in the mapping document? So guys, can you please tell me what are the content will be there and what kind of information it will be provide the mapping document? Anyone guys? Okay. So in the mapping document, so they're going to provide the source table information and the target table information, and then along with the transformation rules. Okay, based on that, we are going to prepare different kind of test cases to validate the data quality. Okay, so at the end of the day, we have the data has to match from the one system to another system, right? For this, we are going to do different kind of validations as part of the ETL testing. Okay, so we mainly divided into different parts of the validations. One is the job validation, structure validation, full load validation, and then incremental load validation. So these are the four ways we are going to validate the as part of any particular job, any particular table. Okay. First, we are going to the what is the job validation. So whatever job we are going to validate, for example, dim customer, take the dim customer table. So we want to validate the dim customer table. So we have to know which job is going to load, which job we need to execute to load to ingest the data into dim customer table, right? For that, we have to go and check that particular dim customer job is available or not for the execution. Okay. Once the dim customer job is available, then we have to check is there any dependency that particular job or not. Okay. If is there any dependency, we have to check that dependent job has to run successfully. Okay, then only we are able to run the dim customer job. Okay, the next will be we have to run the dim customer job successfully without any errors. We have to run the job. Okay, next, whatever we run the dim customer job, that information has to update in the audit tables log. We have the audit tables are there. Those audit tables it has to go and update. Okay. So this is a first of all basic test. Before we are going to start the data validation, we have to check the job validation. They have to data is ingested or not into the corresponding tables. Okay. Next, once the job is completed, then we have to go and check the structure validation. So whatever the dim customer table was there, so dim customer table, the defined how they defined as per the mapping document or not. Okay, because of they didn't define properly, the data will be truncated, data will be trimmed into we are not expected data properly. The quality of the data it will be missed. Okay, so that is the reason we have to check the dim customer table is available in the target table or not. Okay, and then verify the data types for the dim customer. So data types as well as the column sizes. So as per the mention in the mapping document, so it will be same will be the defined or not in the target table. Okay, that we are going to check as part of the structure validation. For the derived columns, size everything we have to check correctly, properly. Okay, the target column size should be always equal or greater than or equal to the source column sizes. Okay, the target column size equal or greater than or equal to the source column size. Okay, next we are going to check the referential integrity. Okay, we are going to check the referential integrity. So referential integrity, how we are going to check? So we are going to check based on the join condition. So whatever the data is there in the two tables, we'll give the join condition. So we are going to check the data is fetching or not. means referential integrity working fine or not, we have to check as per the joint conditions based on the joints. Okay. Next, the initial load or full load means the first time whenever you are going to load the data in from source information to source system to target system, so that we call as a initial load or full load. Okay, in some other time the full load is nothing but the keep on every time, so it will be truncate and load so that particular table. So always it will be, it will load as a again truncate and then 0 records again it will load. So those kind of tables also we call as a full load. Okay, those we call as a full loads. First of all, you're going to check verify the data ingested into that particular table or not. Then how you are going to check that one? Select star from the table name. If you so sometimes we have a huge amount of data, guys. So that is the reason we have to give the conditions here. Like in the Oracle means where row num less than 10, sorry, row num equal to 10. So like that, if you give then only it will display the top 10, only 10 records it will display. Okay. Or somewhere the SQL server the limit, they are using the limit somewhere top. So these kind of functions are there to see the top 10 records. Only for checking instead of fetching all the data, we are going to check the only few records. Okay. Next, we are going to check the count validation. The count validation, how we are going to check? So target count as well as the source count. In the source count, we have to implement the logics. What are the logics they are going to implement, right? All the logics we have to implement in the source query, and then we have to validate the count. Then only it will match. Okay. Here the count equal to target count equal to, sorry, source count equal to target count plus rejected count. Okay. So like that we are going to, so this is the source count equal to target count plus rejected count. Sometimes we gain the prompt. For example, in the employee table we have the 15 records are there. So out of 15, sorry guys, out of 15, so we are going to, if we given the filter like department equal to 10, then how many records it will load? Only 3 records it will load into the target side. So remaining all will be rejected because of the based on the condition is not satisfied. Right? That is the reason source count equal to target count plus rejected count, or we need to implement the source query into here the logics into source side, and then we have to check the source count into target count. Either any one of the way we have to check. Okay. Next will be duplicate check validation. So how we are going to check the duplicate validation? On top of the business key columns. Either it could be one or more. Okay. Based on all the business key columns, you have to mention in the select statement, and then you have to write the query. For example, here the select customer ref key, count star from the dim customer group by dim customer having count of star greater than 1. So this is the query to fetch the duplicate values, to identify the duplicate values. Next will be business key validations. The business key validations, we are going to check is there any null values populating into the business key. Okay. So the target query will be where customer F key is null. Okay. And any spaces are loading. And also we are checking the how many distinct ref keys are there in the table, source side and target side. Okay. Like that we are going to check the business key column validations. So this is what we discussed in the yesterday class. Okay. Next, default value validation. default value validation. So in the default value, how you are going to check the default value validation? For example, null values are populating. Okay, in target side, null values, in the source side we have the null values. I'm giving the example. Target, select EMP number, salary, comma, commission from. This is my target table. Target underscore EMP table. This is my table. Okay, in source side I have the null values are there. So how I'm going to check? Source query, select EMP number, NVL of sal, comma 0, NVL of commission, comma 0 from SRC EMP. So this is like, so whenever some values are populating null value, so null value or anything, whatever, so they want to pass into some default values. For example, here the 0 is a default value. Okay, here the 0 is a default value. So these kind of validations, okay, that we call as a default value validation. So by default it will load into this value. Okay, so that functionality is properly working fine or not, that the default, wherever we pass the default value default values, that we have to check as part of the default value validation. Okay, next will be hard-coded values. Hard-coded value validation. Okay, so hard-coded value validation means, so whenever we have the, we don't have any information from the source side, but I need that column in the, maybe in feature purpose, I need that column in the target side. In that case, they're going to populate the default value. Okay, default value. For example, select same thing. I'm taking EMP number, ename, salary, location from TGT underscore EMP. So this is my target column. Okay, target query. Okay, here location, there is no location information my EMP table, right? So EMP number is there, ename is there, salary is there, but I don't have the location in the source side, the employee table. Okay, but I need this table location in future purpose. They already introduced this location column into the target table. So they introduced the location column in the target side, but in the source side we don't have the information. You don't have any data for this location column. The location itself is not available. So in that case, they'll pass the as part of the ETL. They'll pass like this: select EMP number, ename, salary, NA from source underscore TGT. Okay, so this is the query we have to write. So we are passing the hard-coded value. If your 1000 records or 1 lakh records, all 1 lakh records will be populated only NA. So that is the difference. See guys, difference between the default and hard-coded values means, here 1 lakh records are there, all 1 lakh records will be NA only. It will be applicable. But default values means, so somewhere the data will be there, somewhere we are going to pass the default values. That's it. Okay, so it won't be 1 lakh records in the default values here. Understand guys? Okay, so default value validation, hard code value validation.
One
Next,
question.
yeah.
So is it only any that we pass for hard code value or any other
No.
scenarios?
Based on the requirement. For example, I'll show you. Yesterday mapping sheet I'll show you. See. What is the mapping sheet? Yeah. What we passed here. See here. What it passed? Hardcoded. So dim game, but table name I'm passing. Okay, here that hardcode will the current stump I'm passing hardcoded. So like that,
Okay.
based on the requirement, we are going to pass the some values. Okay, not only in just I given for the one reference purpose in here I given. Okay, if you want, I can show you one. Sorry, can you go on mute? Yeah, is it fine now? Yeah, yeah, my voice only is okay. Now it's fine. Now it's fine. So this one. I'll show you some other default values. See, here by default we're passing the y current indicator. We're passing the y value by default, passing the y. Okay, this is the hard coded value. Okay. I'll show you some other columns also. See, here will be generated sequence number. So this is nothing but the degenerated dimension. Last time I told the degenerated dimension. Okay, so always it will be 1 plus 1 it will generate. Okay. But it's not up to completed one. We'll see anything is there.
That is okay.
Okay, I couldn't find more. But it can be, it's not a one value. Whatever the based on the requirement, right? They're going to pass on that value, hard-coded value. Okay. Okay.
It could be a column name, it could be a table name, it could be some generic text. Everything it is possible, right?
Yes, yes. Not the table name, everything. Whatever any text value or number value, anything they can be hard-coded. Some date value. So anything they can be passed. Okay. Okay. We'll see. So that is the default. Just I am passing here the location. Location is a NEA, not available, not applicable something. Okay. I'm passing like this. Okay, anything can default, they what is based on the requirement, they will pass that information. Okay, so next we are going to check the, it's a direct map, derived mapping. So column level mapping we are going to check. Column level mapping for each column. So either it could be column level mapping, either direct map or derived map. For each column you have to write one test case. If you have 100 columns are there, for each 100 columns you have to write one test case. Okay, verify this column customer ref key is so is a direct column or derived column, where it is deriving, what is the logic. Okay, so these kind of information you have to mention in the test case, and then that logic is working as expected or not. Okay, how you have to write the query means, you can see the query, you can see the mapping document. See, this is your statement. For example, this is your statement. Just I'm taking the one example, guys. This one I'm taking. This is my case. So target query, how you will write the target query? Target query. Select the column 1, For example, taking the employee number. What is the this is a region, column name is a region, so I'm taking the region, okay, from the table. So whatever the table is, for example, I'm taking the employee table only, okay, and then you can use the minus query or source query. Select EMP number, case statement, okay, from EMP, source underscore EMP. So like that you have to, this is a derived column, okay, this is a target column, target table. Okay, this is the logic. This logic, based on the logic only, it's loading the pass in the as a region column. Okay, you have to build this kind of queries in your source query, source table. Then you have to execute this column on this table, and then it's exactly matching or not data for this particular employee number. What is the reason? Okay, like that. Or you have to give the single shot query. You have to mention the minus query. Select employee number region from the target EMP minus select EMP number case statement from the source EMP. Okay, then it should come, sorry, should come the 0 records. It will come the 0 records. It should show the 0 because if all the data is matching, then it's showing the 0 records. Okay, like that you have to build the column level mapping. For each and every column you have to check the exactly data is matching or not. Okay, next data level, all the attribute level data, so both are the same, the column level mapping and then data level mapping, it's both are the same test case only, but here we are individually writing the query. Here single query we are preparing, final query, and then we are checking. Okay, data validation, finally data validation. Yeah, tell
Can
me.
you drop this query in chat box?
Okay, like that. So this is a case statement. You have to practice like this like that, it will be there. Case when I'll take it here from here. What is the query here? Case statement. They're going to use a case statement when price amount type check and price amount status code is paid. Then check. Then you have to display the check part. Check part. Okay. Again, they're going to check yes, amount is greater than of the rule max amount, then HT. So they're going to some value or some payment type check and the status code sent for payment, then check request. So like that they go into their logic they implemented here. Else if it's not matching any logic, then it has to populate the null value. Okay. So this is the case statement, like that we have to build this kind of logics you have to build in the real time. Okay. Okay. So finally, data validation. How we are going to check the data validation? See the source to stage. Maybe it could be different databases. Maybe here source is a Oracle, stage is a SQL server. Okay. So in that case, we can't write the minus query or something. Okay. In that case, you have to validate this kind of validation. You have to do manually, and then we have to do. Okay. But stage to target. 100% they both are in the same schema, same database. If the stage is SQL server, the target also should be SQL server. Here the Oracle, this is the Oracle, this is the Hive, this is the Hive. So from stage to target, it will be in the same database. So we can able to write the SQL, you can able to write the minus query or except query, whatever the query. Okay, how you are going to write? Select star from target table minus select star from source table. Guys, here in the source table, you have to give all the logics, whatever the logics are there. All the logics you have to implement in the source query, then only it will match, then only it will display the proper data. For example, here you can see the same example. So here region is there, but region, we don't have the region column, is a derived column. So you have to give this one in the as a region in the source query. Then only it will match the data, it will give the zero records. Here I didn't mention the logic, but just I'm highlighting here. Select star from the target table minus select star from the source table, vice versa. You have to do the vice versa. Okay, this source table, then target table. So your result will be zero record, should be the zero record. Then only you can say the data is exactly it's matching. Okay, this is a stage table. Sorry, this is a stage table. Both are in the same schema. Okay, so this is the full load validation, guys. So these kind of validations we have to do in the same table. Where the different tables also, the steps are the same. Steps are the same. So you have to prepare the test cases and then you have to start your execution. Okay, this is the common in our common test cases. So it won't occur in any new. Okay. So these are the test cases, guys, for default validation. Next will be incremental loader, incremental data. The final validation, incremental data validation, incremental or delta load validation. So incremental is nothing but the second time already we have loaded the data. Already we have loaded the data in the source target table. Again we are going to run the again we are going to execute the job multiple times. So from the multiple times whenever we execute the job, that execution, that validation we call as a incremental data validation or delta load validation. Okay, here for example, we are going to validate the SCD functionalities here. SCD functionalities as part of the incremental or delta load, we are going to validate the SCD functionalities. Okay, SCD1 and SCD2. So this functionality we are going to check in the as part of the incremental load. In the first test case, what do you have to say? First, any new record inserted. New record inserted into source query in source table. Source table. So if you run the job, source table, then run the job. So how this new record is performing on the target side? For example, I'm saying giving the example. Source have first time will be 100 records. Okay, it loaded into the target side will be 100 records. Okay, this is the first retrieval. The second retrieval, again we have the 10 new records, it will be laid. It will be 10 new records are there in the source query. 10 new records. So this time, if you run the job, what happened here? If you already have 100 records, right? Already I have the 100 records. Okay. If you run the job, how it will be? These 10 records will be loaded or not? How it's going to populating the target side? That functionality you have to check. Maybe it will be again 100 means again 210. The code will be 210 means duplicates or records are loading. So all the functionality you have to check. Any new record inserted into the source table, then run the job. Then you have to validate the how these new records are performing in the target side. How the new records are ingested into the target side. Okay, that is one scenario you have to check. Next, update existing records from source table. Update existing records from the source table. Then run the job. Okay. So here in this case, if you are SCD1 type 1 functionality. So what happened? So it should be override, right? Should be override into the target shade. Override into target. Okay. Or SCD type 2 functionality. Add as a new record. Okay. So if you have any updated existing records from the source table, then after run the job, then what happened those existing modification records? Okay. So the if you have SCD type 1 implementation, then it should be override into the target table, or if there is a SCD type 2 functionality, add as a new record into the target side. So how you are going to check this one? I told already explained based on the start date, from date or start date, end date, and active flag. You have to explain this one based on the active flag. So based on these three columns, we are going to differentiate the either it will be active record or it's the old record. Okay, clear guys? Next will be delete existing record from the source side and run the job. Means if you deleted some records in the existing records in the source table, okay, after run the job, what happened? So in the target table also it is going to delete or something, whether it won't delete in the target table. It should be present in the deleted record should be present in the target side. Why? Because so the data warehousing I told in the starting only the properties. It's a non-volatile data. It's a read-only data. Okay. Okay. If you deleted those records, then it will be there is no make sense to understand the business. We can't understand the business. So that is the reason. If you deleted some record, deleted existing record from the source table, still though that functionality will be handled by the target side. Okay. So as part of the incremental checks, we are going to validate these kind of validations. If a new record inserted, what is the count? What is the happen in the source side? Okay, any duplicates are loading, any how is the count difference? All those things we are going to check in the as part of this scenario. We are existing record, is there any modifications happen on the source side? Then how we are going to validate that records as part of the SCD1 and SCD2. Okay, if you delete any existing records from the source table, how it will be performing in the target table? Those deleted records, the target side. Okay, these kind of validations we have to do in the as part of the incremental data. Clear guys? So these things we are going to perform on the as part of the ETL validation. These kind of validations we are going in the real time. No more any new scenarios. Only these things keep on. We are validating same scenarios here. We are validating the every time. Okay. We are going to validate every time for each and every table. Only the thing is the table name, column name, and logics are the change, but the test cases will be same. If you write one time, the same test cases we can keep on using in the any time for 2 years, 3 years also we can use the same test cases. Okay, that's why I'm saying only the SQL is you are good on the SQL. You can able to manage, you can able to survive in the job easily. Okay, so this is the ETL validations, guys. ETL validation. So next one more, this there regression testing. Sometimes we are going to do the regression validation. First of all, what is a regression testing? We have to know what is a regression testing. For example, I will tell you the dim customer table is there. Okay, this dim customer table, we already validated, we given provide the key sign of document. So this already we tested the job validation, structure validation, okay, and then full load validation and incremental load validation. Everything we have completed for the dim customer table, and then we created given the sign of key sign of document. This table is the data quality, functionality, everything as expected. Okay, for later point of view, after 1 month or 2 months, again they added some new logics in the dim customer table. Okay, new functionality they added in the dim customer table. So in that case, we already prepared the dim customer test cases right here, right? So we are going to check as part of the regression testing. We are going to validate the this all old functionality as well as the new functionality. Old functionality plus new functionality. We are going to validate as part of the regression testing. The old functionality means already what are the test cases we wrote. The new functionality means just we need to add the some test cases in the existing. What are the new columns are added, what are the things are added, right? Those things we have to add for the test cases. Okay. So as part of the regression, the main purpose is it should not affect any old functionality based on the new functionality. So whatever the new functionality they implemented, based on this new functionality, should not affect the old functionality. It should be as expected. Old functionality should be working as expected. That's why we are going to validate old functionality as well as the new functionality as part of the regression testing. So they will ask guys this question, but very important. They will ask in the interview point of view, what is retesting, what is regression testing? They will ask this question, what is retesting, what is regression testing? Okay, the retesting means whenever we are doing the any test cases, if you found any defect, okay, the once the developer are going to fix the defect, we are going to recheck the defect is fixed or not, right? That is called the retesting. Okay, once the developer fix the defect, we are going to recheck the defect, revalidate the defect. The defect is fixed or not. That kind of testing is called the retesting. But the regression testing is nothing but the is there any already completed table? Is there any new functionality added to the existing functionality? So we are going to validate the new functionality as well as the old functionality. So it should not affect the any old functionality. That is called the regression testing. Okay, clear guys? Retesting and regression testing. So we have to execute all the test cases. Whatever we executed the ETL testing, all the test cases we have to execute as part of the regression testing. The same test cases we have to execute along with the new functional test cases. Okay, that is the regression testing. Okay, but that's why I'm saying these all will be mandatory. This will be sometimes it will be required. It will be required, or sometimes it's not required. Based on the requirement, we have to start the regression validations. Okay, so these are the validations we are going to perform on the ETL side, ETL validation side. Okay, now we'll go further. We can go any tool, ETL tool. So what are the tools are there? So I'm going to now show you the Informatica tool. Just we'll know the basic knowledge today, Informatica, and then tomorrow we see the execution. Whatever we wrote this one, we are going to see the executions. Okay. See. In the Informatica, there are the 4 components are there, guys. The tool, Informatica tool. Okay. So I'll show you the Informatica tool now itself. Okay. The 4 components are there. One is the repository, designer, workflow manager, and workflow monitor. Okay. These are the 4 windows are there. Wait, I'll open the tool, then I can explain clearly. 1 second, guys. Just opening the data warehousing in another system. I'm going to stop the screen. Guys, are able to see the screen, right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So in the info this, I'm going to show you the Informatica. The VMware I already installed in the VMware. It will be almost 25 GB, guys. If you want, whenever anyone wants the Informatica tool, you have to come and collect, guys, because I can't share the 25 GB in the drive or somewhere. Okay, it's very difficult to share to me. Right. Okay. First, we are going to start the services, guys. The Informatica services. To go, the installation will be there. This is the old version. So there the client and server is there. Okay. The server will be taken care by the DBA guys. Who are the admins of the Informatica admin? Those guys, the installation, the services, everything, they will take care. So here we are not doing anything, guys. Okay, just for understanding purpose, just I'm showing the Informatica, what kind of tools are there, what all those things. Okay. So here I'm going to start the Informatica services. So this everything will be done by the DBA guys for us. So we no need to do all those things. But here we are for testing purpose, we are doing for ourselves. Okay. Next, I'm going to start the. So I told there the 4 components are there. Okay, there are 4 components are there in the Informatica tool. Okay, one is the repository, one is the designer, second one is the designer, third is the workflow manager, fourth is the workflow monitor. So these are the 4 components are there, guys. Okay, we'll see. First we'll open the repository manager. Yeah, this is the repository. So mainly the repository will be kind of the metadata information. Means whatever work they're going to do as part of the development, all the work will be saved into the repository here. In this window, it is going to save whatever the developer, the mappings or whatever the development happening. Everything you are going to save into the repository. Okay. So I'm going to connect the repository. Connect. The same thing will be, the password will be same here. So they will ask in the report, if they are the interviewer has the knowledge on the Informatica, they will ask the question, guys, what kind of components are there? So can you please explain the how the each component, where the development will work, all those things. Okay. So you can see here there are the 4 components you can able to see here itself. The one is the repository, one is the designer, one is the workflow manager, one is the workflow monitor. Okay, these are the 4 tools, 4 components in the Informatica. You can able to open from here itself, or you want you can go here, you can go start button, go to the Informatica client, you can open from here itself also. Both are the same. Okay, I'm opening here. The first one is the repository. This is the metadata kind of information will be stored into the repository. Okay. Next, I'm opening the designer, guys. If you want, you can note down, guys, that the 4 components: repository, designer, workflow manager, workflow monitor. Okay. Again in the designer. Okay. Just some drag and drop opening the. See, guys, in the designer window, designer component. Again, the 4 components are there. Okay. What is the first one? Will be source analyzer. See, whenever I click on this one, it changes the sources. Came to the sources. You can see the observe, guys, here the sources. Whenever I click on the second one, this is the target designer. You can see the change it to target. The menu tabs are going to change. Okay. The transformation developer. See, it came to the transformation. Maplet designer. So maplet. Okay. Mappings. It came to the mapping. So in the designer window, again they have the 5 sub components are there. One is a source analyzer, okay, target analyzer, transformations, maplet, and then mapping designer. These are the 5 will be there. Okay, sub components. So this is a tool, guys. Just I'm explaining the tool. Okay, so 5 sub components are there. Okay, they will do, developers, they will do the source analyzer. They'll go and connect the source systems. For example, you can see, click on the source. They're going to connect the source systems. For example, I want to connect the source system. That they will configure ODBC system, all those things. That is taken care by the DBA guys, the admin guys, Informatica admin guys. They'll configure all those things. Okay. So we're not doing anything here as part of the QA. Just we are understanding the tool here. Okay. So this is the start. I'm going to give the password. We'll see. The password is incorrect. Maybe I given the tiger here. See, my source will be here as card. I'm taking as a card is my source. So it's connected to the source. So the tables are whatever the tables are there, all the tables are there here. Okay. Okay. So these they are selecting, and then you click on OK means it's going to import into the designer. Sorry, in the source analyzer. So you can see the tables list will be like that here. The flat files and card. So these tables are imported from the database. And these are the flat files I imported from the database on flat file. So like that, they're going to connect the source system, and then they'll interact the data. So they'll fetch the metadata. They'll fetch the metadata information into the Informatica, from source to Informatica. Okay, guys. So that they will do, the developer. This will be done by the developers. So they're extracting the source system and then fetching the required table information from the source tables. The same thing, they will go for the target database, go to target, and then connect in the database. So this is the another schema. Okay, maybe I've given the same password here. They're going to the target. Yeah, it's connected. Target database is connected. So whatever the tables are required, so they will pull all the tables into Informatica. Okay, you can see this is the source one. These are the target tables. See how many tables are there. I have so many tables I imported earlier. Okay, These many tables are there, my target. Fine guys, the source tables are there, the target tables are there. Two tables are there. So now I want to develop the mapping to ingest the data, the source data into target. Okay, source data into target data. They want to develop the mappings. Based on the mapping sheet, they're going to develop the mappings in the mapping designer. Just drag and drop the table, the source table and then target table. They're going to drag and drop. Okay, I'm going to do one sample one, guys. I'm going to develop one sample here for you guys. Okay, I'm not doing any mapping here. Just I'm going to develop the server is not available. That table I'm going to take in here. Just I'm going to check here. Sorry, first close this one. Yeah, another for 10 minutes are there. You can able to finish the guys. If the student is not available, yes, I'm going to drag in to connect to the student table here. Otherwise, I'm going to get the this one. If you want, you can see the data also, guys. You can able to see your data. I'll show you how to see the data. Yeah, I'm getting it for the EMP2. Okay, EMP2 I'm taking the getting. One table I'm just importing. See, guys, automatically the EMP2 table it came. Okay, right click. What you can see here, view data something. You can able to see the data also. Preview the data. Okay, you have to give the password and then this is the source, right? Source connection. Start. Into the tiger. If we don't have the data in the EMP table, don't have the data. Want you can go and see the data is available or not in the that table. Select star from EMP2. See, there is no data. So just I'm going to insert the some data, guys. How to take the insert EMP2. Select star from EMP. Right, 20 records inserted. I'm going to do the commit. Otherwise, it won't reflect. Now you can go to the designer, enable to see the data. Just close this one. View the data. Password will be tiger. See, guys, earlier because there is no data, it's not showing. Now I got the source data. Just I can able to check in the through Informatica also we can able to see the data, what kind of data is there in the database. Okay, this it won't save any physical memory, guys. This is only metadata. This will go and connect the database and then it will fetch the data here. This data it's not saving into the Informatica. Okay, clear? So as of now I pull the EMP table. So this is we are not doing, guys, only developer part. This is developer for our understanding purpose. Just I'm showing one explaining. Okay, I'm going to connect the target. So what are the target tables are there here? I'm going to create the one target table, guys, for you. Where is the target? Yeah. How to create the backup table, guys? Create table EMP2 using the TG2 underscore MP2. Okay, I given the naming always same as select star from card.emp. I'm taking the from the emp. Structure will be same. Where I don't want the data. Okay, where equal to 1 equal to 2. Okay, table is created. If you want, you can see, guys. Select star from emp2. Sorry, tgt.emp2. So the table is available. My target table is available, but there is no data. Okay. So I'm going to target. I'm connect to the database, target database. This is the target database I'm going to connect. So what is my table? I want to pull the emp.tgt2 tgt2.emp2. This is I'm going to pull the to Informatica. Came the table tgt2.emp2. So now the developers doing the here the new mapping. I'm going to create the new mapping. Create new mapping. The mapping name will just I'm giving the batch 4 mapping. Batch 4 sample. Okay, just I'm giving the batch 4 sample. The naming convention like that again. Okay, so they will extract the source table. Okay, and then they drag and drop the target table. Okay, so the always in the Informatica, always by default whenever we taking the source table, it will create one transformation, that is a source qualifier transformation. Okay, that is a source qualifier transformation. So whenever we pull the source table, so inbuilt one transformation it will come along with the source table. Okay, that transformation is called as a source qualifier transformation. This is a direct one-to-one. There is no logic, there is no this one. So by default it will generate one transformation. That transformation is called the source qualifier transformation. Okay, along on top of the source table. On top of the source table, it generates the one transformation. So they will ask in the sum what is the source qualifier transformation. You can say directly on top whenever there is a source table is there. By default source table, it will generate one transformation. That transformation is called as a source qualifier. Okay, so like that it will generate. So they're going to generate. So here I'm not applying any transformations, just simply one-to-one mapping. I'm going to generate the one-to-one mapping. Drag and drop. They are doing the drag and drop. Yeah. Okay. They're going to save the repository. Okay. See this information it is going to save into the repository. So you can see. Whatever we did, the developer see emp2 it came and saved. Earlier there is no emp2. Okay. So just now I created it. So emp underscore target underscore emp2 it came. Go to the mapping. What is my mapping? Batch 4 underscore sample. So whatever the developers done the work, everything is going to save into the repository. Okay. So this is the repository. So this is the designer. So the source analyzer, target analyzer, mapping. Leave it as of now. Leave this one transformation. This one, these two are the leave. We can maybe discuss in the tomorrow class. So leave these two components. Okay. So that is they develop the mapping transformation based on the mapping sheet. Mapping sheet. They're going to develop the mappings here. The designer window. What they will do in the designer window? They're going to generate the mappings. They're going to connect the source systems and target system, and then they're going to generate the mappings as part of the as per the mapping logic. So here I didn't generate anything, only simply just I given the one-to-one mapping. Okay. Next, that is the designer work. They will do the development. Next, they will go to the workflow manager. So here you can see the workflow manager. Go to the third component. I'm going to the third component. Okay. Okay, here they're going to generate the session workflows. They're going to generate. So whatever the mappings they developed in the designer, so those mappings they're going to generate the workflows here. Okay, yes, I'm going to create the workflow. What is the workflow name? Just I'm going to give the WF batch 4 sample. Okay, so this is the workflow they created. Once the workflow created, they're going to create the task session. They're going to create sessions. Okay, I'm going to the batch 4 sample. So here on top of which mapping I want to develop, in which mapping. So what is my mapping document? The mapping, see guys, here the mappings. So whatever the designer I developed the batch for sample mapping, based on that mapping I'm going to create the workflow. Okay. So this is the session created. So they're going to give the linking. Now my workflow is ready. My workflow is ready. Okay. So now I'm going to execute this job. I'm going to execute this job. Then my data will be passed from source table to target table. Okay, this everything will be developed by done by the developers. So our QA, what we are to do here. So whatever the workflows they developed, right? That we have to start. That we have to execute. Okay. So I'm going to execute the workflow. This is the workflow. So this is our task, QA task. We have to go right click and then start workflow. This is a job execution. We call it the job execution. Okay, we call it as a job execution. So once the job is executed, automatically the fourth component, workflow monitor, it will open. Workflow monitor, it will open. Okay, here we can able to see the log files. The job is executed successfully or not, all those things. See this one, the succeeded. You can see the session statistics also you can able to see by showing 0 records, 0 records, 0 records. It won't pass any data. Okay, total transformation, there is no errors, but there is no records are passed. But we have the 20 records, I think, in the source side, right? I have the 20 records in the source side, but it's not. See, you can see here. First of all, there is no source itself, because then that time we have to go and check the connections. Whatever the connections are there, source and target connections are properly you are given or not in the workflow. Okay, I'm going to check the connections. Double click here, go to the connections mappings. See, my source will be I given the Oracle target. Okay, Oracle DGT. That is incorrect, right? That is incorrect. I have to give the source here. Next, you have to check the target also. What is the connection build correctly or not? So this kind of error it will come, guys. So at the time of developers, maybe they forgot, they didn't give proper connections. So that time it won't load the data. Okay, we executed the data, but we can't find the any data. So we have to raise a defect here. Okay, so I executed the job is succeeded, but there is no data from my target table. There is no data ingested. So we have to raise a defect here. This is one defect. Okay, this is the one defect we found here. Then we raise, then they'll go and then they'll modify the connections. So there is a mistake in the connection. So they corrected now. Okay, now I am going to again execute the job. Okay, now you can go and see one more time. The job is running. You'll see what happened job. See, my source will be how many targets are 20 records are there. My target 20 records. So there is no file here. Now you can go and see the target table. Earlier there is no records, 0 records. Yes, I'm going to execute the target table. See, the data is ingested in the from source to target is ingested. Okay. Now we have to validate this data. Whatever the data ingested, our task, our role will be we have to validate the source data and target data is accurate or not. The data quality will be as expected or not. We have to check. That is our role, guys. Clear here? This just I created some sample one-to-one mapping. And then I have executed the job and data is ingested into the source to target table. Clear? How you can able to see the log file means get workflow log. So this is a log file. This is a log. If there are any issues, you can able to find here. If you want, you can see. Previously, what is this one, right? Previously, see the workflow is succeeded, batch is failed. You can see, you can get the get workflow. You can able to see what is the error log. You can find the error. Control F. So where is the error? Batch sample for executed. Why it's not showing means the already the EMP table maybe it will be available in the my target side. So that is the reason it's not showing any error here. Then it's not there. This also not. It has to show here. I'll show you how to find the error. Get session log. Yeah, this is the workflow. That is we verified the workflow log just now. We have to check the session log in the down session log. You can see here. You can able to find the here itself. We can able to find the data issue. See error. We can able to find the error. So the monitor as per the QA we have to find the monitor. Go to control F now. Error. See, disabled. You can see here we can able to easily find the errors. See, input DPD number from EMP2. Yes, anyway, yes, time is open. Then I will show you one more time tomorrow how you can able to see the error in the session log. You can able to find here itself. Which one we are going to check here? Yeah, I'll show you guys tomorrow, no problem. So anyways, the time is 9:15 already. Okay, clear guys, you understand right what is happen here? The Informatica, what kind of components are there? Okay, the totally 4 components are there in the Informatica. One is the repository, designer, workflow manager, and workflow monitor. As part of the QA, we require the workflow manager and workflow monitor. In the workflow manager, we are going to execute the jobs. Okay, once the job is executed, you can able to go and see the workflow monitor log files. We call it as a session log. Session log, we open the session log, you can able to see the log file. The job is succeeded. Is there any issues? You can able to find in the session logs. Okay, so as part of the QA, we required only workflow manager and workflow monitor. Workflow manager for the job execution, workflow monitor for the log file. Okay, these two are the important for the QA. Okay, any doubts guys? Any doubts here? So I'm going to stop the recording. Okay, so I have to stop the screen share. Any doubts guys here? Okay.